guys, it's Vanessa with Unmasked. The mystery of what happened to 25-year-old nursing student Carlee Russell on July 13th finally has some answers. There's a lot to talk about, and in my opinion, we've had the biggest clues to this being a hoax since the very beginning. So let's get into it. But first, before we dive into this video, please hit the like, subscribe, and set the notification bell to all so you'll be notified of my videos on this case and more. For a quick background, for those of you who don't know the basic details, Carlee Russell vanished last Thursday night after stopping on I-459 in Hoover, Alabama to allegedly help a lost child. Carlee had left work for the day at the Woodhouse Spa, where she worked part-time around 8:20 or 8:30, and then headed to a restaurant to pick up food to take home. She allegedly left the restaurant around 9 and had posted a couple times on her Insta between 9 and 9:30 as well. Then at 9:34 p.m., Carlee called 911 and reported that she saw a male toddler in a white shirt and a diaper walking along the side of the very dark but very busy Interstate 459. That's her vehicle in the video with the flashing lights. After the emergency call, she stopped to allegedly check on the child and called her brother's girlfriend, who heard Carlee ask the child a couple times if they were okay. They did not hear the child respond, however. Carlee's question was followed by a scream and then the sound of the highway in the background as the line remained open. The police arrived on the scene just minutes later, but Carlee had vanished. When the police found her vehicle still parked on the side of the highway, her purse, phone, Apple Watch, AirPods, and wig were left behind. Interestingly, and we'll get more into this in a couple minutes, the food that she had just picked up from the Mediterranean restaurant was gone. This led to a 2-day intense search by multiple law enforcement agencies, and it sparked a frenzy of people online analyzing traffic cam from the highway, tracking her last movements, and digging into every last detail. People everywhere were understandably sucked into her disappearance immediately. You have this beautiful 25-year-old nursing student with her whole life ahead of her who stops to help a child and is most likely abducted. It had so many people stopping in their tracks and getting invested into what had happened to her. Then on Saturday night, the bombshell news came that Carlee was safe and had walked up to her parents' house. Initial reports going around were that Carlee was non-responsive. However, we found out since then that wasn't the case. She was taken to the hospital and then subsequently released. However, this hardly marked the end of this mystery. The curiosity, the speculation, and the crazy rumors around what happened to Carlee has continued to grow each day. We finally got a press conference from the Hoover PD, and there's a lot to talk about. I know that many of us felt like something was very off ever since she returned home Saturday night. However, that was offset by the fact that everyone was so excited, I know I was, to hear that she was safe and back with her family. We rarely get endings like that, so when that does happen, it's a pretty amazing feeling. So let's get into all the craziest details and the biggest clues that were in our faces since the very beginning. Here's a clip from the press conference, followed by Carlee's 911 call.
On July 13th, at approximately 8:20 p.m., Carlee left work from a business at the Summit. Surveillance video from her place of employment shows Carlee concealed a dark-colored bathrobe, a roll of toilet paper, and other items belonging to the business prior to her departure. She ordered food from Tzatziki's at the Colonnade and traveled there. She then traveled to Target on 280, where she purchased some granola bars and Cheez-Its. From there, she remained in the parking lot at that shopping center until 9:21 p.m. when she drove to I-459. Carlee communicated on her cell phone with individuals known to her while on her path of travel, up to the point of calling 911 at 9:34 p.m.
Hi, I am on Interstate 459, and there is a kid just walking by themselves.
Hold on. Where on 459 are you?
I'm right next to the exit 10 by the Hoover Med, like to get off by the Hoover Med.
Okay, so you're before that exit?
Yes.
Okay, and were you headed southbound or northbound? Like towards Tuscaloosa or towards 280?
Towards Tuscaloosa.
Okay, and was the child on the left or right side?
On the right side.
Were they walking northbound or southbound?
They're walking towards Tuscaloosa.
Walking southbound? Or how old do they look?
Like a toddler, like maybe like 3 or 4.
Did you pull over with them, or are you still with them?
Yes.
Okay, are you with the child right now?
No, I'm not. I didn't get out of the car. I can see them though.
Do you mind staying and keeping an eye on them until we get there?
Yeah, sure, yeah.
Okay, what kind of car are you in?
I'm in a red Mercedes-Benz
Is it a sedan or SUV?
SUV. I mean, it's a sedan. Sorry.
Can you put your hazards on for me?
Yeah, they're on.
Okay. Did you talk to the child at all, or did you say anything to them?
No.
Okay.
No.
Do they look like they're injured?
No, they don't.
Are they white, black, Hispanic, or Asian?
They're white.
Okay. Is it male or female?
I think it's a boy, a little boy.
White male? Okay, so is he wearing clothes?
Yes.
Okay. What is he wearing?
It's a white t-shirt, and it doesn't look like he has any pants on. It looks like a diaper.
And you don't see any cars anywhere?
No, no cars anywhere.
Okay. All right. What's your name?
My name is Carlee Russell.
And you don't see any injuries on the shop from where you're at, correct?
No, but I can't really see them that good.
Okay. Try to keep an eye on them for the best that you can, because I don't want you to lose track of them.
Okay.
All right. And do they have shoes on?
No.
Shoes?
Not that I can see. I can't really see that one.
Okay. All right. I've got them on the way, okay? Just try to keep an eye on them, but the officers are on the way, okay?
Okay, thanks.
Thank you.
Okay, bye.
Carly's story to law enforcement is one of the most ridiculous things I've ever heard. She claims that as she was waiting for law enforcement, a man with orange hair and a bald spot came walking out of the woods and said he was checking on the toddler. The man then picked her up. I don't know where the toddler goes in this scenario, made her climb a fence, and then she woke up in the trailer of an 18-wheeler. Then there was a female accomplice as well, but Carlee never saw her. She only heard her voice. She then somehow broke free out of the trailer and escaped, only to be captured again, and this time she was blindfolded. They didn't tie her up, however, because they didn't want to make impression marks on her skin. Very considerate kidnappers. They then took her into a house where they made her remove all of her clothing and took pictures of her, but there was no physical contact of any kind. The next day, she woke up and was fed Cheez-Its by the female captor, while the woman also played with her hair. At some point, she was in a car again, which conveniently wound up in the West Hoover area near her parents' house. She escaped yet again and ran through the woods and to her parents' home. She had $107 worth of cash in her right sock, a torn shirt, and a small injury to her lip. Now, let's get to her Google searches. These searches do indicate that she had been planning this at least several days in advance. Prior to her disappearance, Carlee made the following searches beginning on July 11th, which was 2 days before she disappeared. Her Google searches were, do you have to pay for an Amber Alert? How to take money from a register without getting caught? Birmingham bus station, one-way ticket from Birmingham to Nashville, and the movie Taken, which, as we all know, is a movie about an abduction. They also revealed that they've been trying to get in contact with her for additional statements, and it sounds like she is not cooperating. The biggest piece today, in my opinion, was that the Hoover PD told the public that there is no threat out there related to the Carlee Russell disappearance. So clearly they do not believe she was kidnapped, and they will be continuing their investigation into Carlee and anyone else who may have been involved. Carlee's parents are telling the police that she is too mentally traumatized to speak to them at the moment. They also stated that they were not aware of any past mental health issues. If you guys are familiar with the Sherry Papini case, it's one of the most disgusting, in my opinion, kidnapping hoax cases ever. It happened in 2016 in California, and Sherry staged her own kidnapping to make it look like she was taken by traffickers, despite having a husband and 2 very young children. There are some similarities between her case and this one In Sherry's case, she remembered certain details for the police that were actually true recollections. She just lied about the circumstances. For example, she kept mentioning a specific table to investigators. That table was in the room with her when she was hiding out, actually. So it's very possible that Carlee is recalling some details that really did happen, but just changing the circumstances around them. She probably did sit wherever she was hiding and eat her Cheetos and her snacks. She likely did run through the woods to get away from her car when law enforcement was arriving. It's ridiculous to think that they left all of her valuables and her purse and her wallet, but they took her Mediterranean takeout and her snacks. It was also very interesting to hear that some of the rumors that have been floating around since day 2, basically, are true. It's been circulated that she stole from her job earlier in the day before she disappeared. That was put out days and days ago. So if that person is accurate on everything they said, I would assume they are looking into Carlee's grades and her interpersonal relationships. This anonymous source had said that everything was crashing down around her when she disappeared last week. So let's touch on some of the biggest clues that were right there from day 1, right in front of our faces. Of course, we had the debate over the existence of the child on the side of the interstate. When the traffic cam footage came out, there was no child. We couldn't see any child. We kept blowing it up. Everybody was blowing it up and trying to enhance it. There was no child. And many people noticed right away that she was driving a much longer distance than would have made sense. That was the most critical piece because without a child, it was either a mental episode or a hoax. Another coincidence that's a bit of a red flag for me is the Red Roof Inn situation on Saturday. So it was reported that Carlee's family received a call from Carlee or someone saying that they were Carlee and that the call came from the Red Roof Inn. This hotel is about 10 minutes away from where Carlee went missing. It was later said that the Red Roof Inn call was a rumor and that her family denied going there. However, they have since changed their story and admitted that they did in fact drive there. So why lie? Coincidentally, just hours after that whole Red Roof Inn rumor went around, Carlee returned home. That's also the night that everyone, and I mean basically everyone that was following this case, was sitting around analyzing the traffic cam online. And there was a lot of discussion about, there is no kid in this footage. This footage isn't adding up. It doesn't make sense. So if, and I guess I'm just saying if, even though I think it's pretty obvious it was an absolute hoax, if this was a hoax, Saturday would have been a lot of pressure if she was watching what was going on online, and it would be difficult to handle with her disappearance blowing up all over social media. I also have to wonder if she knew there was a camera there. Another huge red flag was her parents' own statement that they had warned Carlee of being abducted in this exact same scenario with someone using a child as bait. That's extremely specific, and that was just too much for me and a lot of people. It does make sense that Carlee chose to go with this narrative. I'm not saying I don't believe her parents. I bet they did possibly warn her of that. But that's exactly why I think she chose this narrative, because it's something that was stuck in her head about something they had warned her of in the past. We also had her parents' very strange interview on the Today Show on NBC the other day. Their answers were very bizarre. Their mannerisms were just off, and her father's body language in particular was extremely telling. His face was definitely telling a different story than what we were hearing. Now, I'm not saying at all that Carlee's parents had anything to do with anything. However, do I think that they have knowledge after the fact and are stuck in this mess that Carlee made? Yes, I do. There are still some very big questions we need the answers to. Where was Carlee for those 49 hours? What was her motive? And was anyone else involved? And finally, police don't just allow you to take your sweet time when they think that there could be a violent perpetrator on the loose. Anyone who's been a victim of violent crime knows that police can be very aggressive in getting the information immediately afterwards. I mean, they try to be sensitive, but they can be very insistent, and for good reason. That's my experience anyway. Time is precious in those situations. So the way they were being like, oh, we're just going to talk to her when she's feeling up to it, that told me that they pretty much knew from the jump that she wasn't being truthful. And I have to say this because this strikes a chord with me on a personal level. I think that faking something like this is just as bad as faking a serious illness. It's an unfortunate fact in life that many times females are looked at as over emotional and hysterical. It's just the way it is. I do think that that's gotten a little better over time, but that bias is still there. Every woman who pretends to be the victim of any type of violent crime chips away at the credibility of others who are telling the truth. I think there needs to be some serious consequences if they do determine through their investigation that this was a premeditated hoax, no matter what the motive was. So what do you guys think? Where do you think that Carlee was, and what do you think that her motive could have possibly been? More importantly, do you think she should face criminal charges for lying to investigators? Please let me know in the comments below. Thank you for watching, stay safe, and see you next video.